A poor woman with a little girl approached the millionaire and said, "Your daughter is sick, can you help?" What the millionaire did left everyone speechless. The gray New York City sky mirrored Nathaniel Drake's tormented soul as his luxury Mercedes glided through chaotic traffic. At 32, the businessman had transformed his family's construction company into a billion-dollar empire. Yet no business achievement could fill the void consuming him since that fateful day 8 years ago, when Claire Bennett disappeared from his life without explanation. Without goodbye, without a trace, he straightened his Italian silk tie, a mindless habit when thoughts of her surfaced. The board meeting had gone well. Another quarter of record profits, another expansion approved, another victory that felt hollow. His executive assistant, Meredith, sat beside him, reviewing the day's schedule on her tablet. "The Thompson contract needs your signature by 5, and Mrs. Langford called again about the charity gala next weekend," she said, not looking up. Nathaniel suppressed a sigh. Victoria Langford, daughter of steel magnate Edward Langford. Beautiful, accomplished, perfectly suitable according to New York's elite social circles, and utterly wrong for him. "Tell her I'll think about it," he replied, gaze fixed on the raindrops racing down his window. Traffic slowed to a standstill on Fifth Avenue. Another New York gridlock. Nathaniel checked his watch. A platinum Patek Philippe, an indulgent reminder of how far he'd come from the scholarship kid whose father died too young, leaving him and his mother to rebuild the struggling family business. The light turned red. His driver, Jackson, drummed fingers on the steering wheel. And then it happened. A frantic tapping on the passenger window cut through the rain's patter. A woman with disheveled brown hair, worn clothes and desperate eyes hammered the bulletproof glass with alarming force. Beside her, a frail girl, no older than 7, leaned against her with difficulty, skin pale as paper, lips purplish from lack of oxygen. Nathaniel's heart stopped. Those deep blue eyes, that face he had memorized in every detail. Claire. Impossible, yet real. "Stop the car," he ordered, his voice barely audible. "Sir," Jackson questioned, alarmed by the disheveled woman. "I said stop the car." Nathaniel's command left no room for argument. He unlocked the doors with trembling hands. Claire nearly collapsed when he opened the door, holding her daughter as if she were the most precious thing in the world. "Nathaniel, I swore I'd never look for you, but she'll die." Her voice came out strangled, breaking between sobs. The little girl's breathing was labored, her small chest rising and falling with visible effort. Meredith gasped, already dialing emergency services. "Cancel that," Nathaniel ordered, taking both Claire and the child in his arms. "Jackson, Mount Sinai Hospital, now, emergency entrance." The Mercedes cut through traffic like a bullet, emergency lights flashing. Claire cradled the girl, whispering reassurances. "Hang on, Emily. Just a little longer, sweetheart." "What's wrong with her?" Nathaniel asked, his mind racing with questions but focusing on the most urgent one. "Congenital heart disease," Claire whispered. "She needs surgery, treatments, millions of dollars worth of care. I've tried everything, Nate. Every public hospital in 3 states. Endless waiting lists, begging for help, selling everything I owned. Nothing was enough." The familiar nickname, Nate, hit him like a physical blow. Only Claire had ever called him that. At Mount Sinai Hospital, Nathaniel's name opened doors instantly. The chief of cardiology himself rushed down, barking orders as nurses whisked Emily away on a gurney. Claire followed, her steps faltering from exhaustion, while the medical team examined Emily. Nathaniel gripped Claire by the shoulders in the cold, antiseptic corridor. 8 years, Claire. 8 years. Why did you leave me? Why did you just disappear like I meant nothing? The pain in his voice was an open wound. Claire looked away, tears tracing clean paths on her suffering-marked face. She knew this moment would come, but she wasn't prepared to face the magnitude of the pain she'd caused. "I never stopped looking," he continued, voice breaking. "Private investigators, newspaper ads, searches in every city in the country. 2 years, Claire. 2 years until I accepted the painful truth. You didn't want to be found." A doctor emerged from the exam room, her expression grave. "Miss Bennett, we need to run more tests, but your daughter's condition is critical. Her heart function is severely compromised." Claire nodded numbly. "Do whatever you need to. Please save her." The doctor glanced at Nathaniel, clearly recognizing him. "Mr. Drake, are you family?" Before he could answer, Claire cut in. He's a friend, an old friend." The word friend sliced through Nathaniel like a blade after everything they'd shared. After the love that had consumed them both, he was just a friend. When the doctor returned to Emily, Nathaniel pulled Claire into an empty waiting room. "Talk to me now." Claire sank into a chair, suddenly looking much older than her 30 years. Dark circles underscored her eyes, and her once vibrant beauty was weathered by years of hardship. "Emily has hypoplastic left heart syndrome," she began, voice hollow from repeating the diagnosis countless times. "Her left ventricle never developed properly. She's had palliative surgeries, but she needs specialized treatments, maybe even a transplant. That's not what I'm asking, and you know it." Claire's shoulders slumped. "What do you want me to say, Nathaniel? That I'm sorry? I am. More than you'll ever know. I want to know why," he demanded, pacing the small room like a caged tiger. "We were happy. We had plans. I was going to propose that weekend for God's sake, and then nothing. You disappeared. Your apartment empty. Phone disconnected. Not even a goddamn note." Claire's eyes widened at the mention of a proposal. Something like regret flickered across her face before she composed herself. "It's complicated. Uncomplicate it," he shot back, 8 years of pain hardening his voice. Before she could answer, a nurse appeared at the door. "Ms. Bennett, the doctor needs to see you immediately." Claire stood. Swaying slightly, Nathaniel instinctively reached out to steady her. Their first physical contact in 8 years. An electric current passed between them. Familiar, yet strange. "This isn't over," he whispered as she pulled away. "It never started," she replied cryptically. Following the nurse out, Nathaniel watched her go, 1,000 questions burning in his mind. Why had she come back now? Why him? After all this time? And who exactly was Emily? This child with familiar blue eyes who somehow stirred something protective deep inside him. He pulled out his phone and dialed his assistant. "Meredith, cancel everything for the week and get me everything you can find on advanced treatments for hypoplastic left heart syndrome." Whatever had happened between them, whatever secrets Claire was keeping. One thing was clear. Nathaniel Drake was not letting her disappear again. Not until he had answers. Not until Emily was safe. As rain pelted the hospital windows, he knew with absolute certainty that his life had just changed forever. Again, the hospital corridor felt endless, as Claire followed the nurse, her heart pounding against her ribs. 8 years of carefully constructed walls were crumbling around her. She'd known this moment might come, had rehearsed explanations countless times, but facing Nathaniel, seeing the raw pain in his eyes, had scattered her carefully prepared words like leaves in a storm. Dr. Sarah Chen waited outside Emily's room, tablet in hand. At 38, she was Mount Sinai's rising star in pediatric cardiology, with a reputation for taking on the most challenging cases. "Mrs. Bennett, Emily's condition is worse than I initially thought." "Doctor," Chen began without preamble. "Her last echocardiogram shows significant deterioration since her records from Portland General. The medications aren't working as they should." Claire pressed her palms against her eyes. "What are our options? We need to discuss more aggressive treatments. Possibly surgical intervention within days, not weeks." Dr. Chen's expression softened slightly. "There's something else. We need a complete family medical history, both maternal and paternal." Claire froze. "I have my records, but her father's. Even limited information could help. Heart conditions often have genetic components." Dr. Chen lowered her voice. "Ms. Bennett, I don't mean to pry, but Mr. Drake, is he Emily's father?" Before Claire could respond, Nathaniel appeared behind them, his commanding presence filling the narrow corridor. "Is there a problem?" he asked, glancing between the two women. Dr. Chen straightened. "Mr. Drake, we need comprehensive genetic information to properly treat Emily. Certain markers might help us determine the best course of treatment." Nathaniel frowned. "I've authorized full funding for Emily's care, whatever specialist you need, whatever equipment." "It's not about resources," Dr. Chen interrupted. "It's about genetic data. We need to know if there's any history of cardiac issues in Emily's family, in Claire's family." You mean, Nathaniel corrected. A heavy silence fell. Claire's hands trembled as she met Nathaniel's gaze. Not just mine, she whispered. Yours too. Nathaniel's expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. Mine? Why would my family history matter for Claire's daughter? The silence stretched, painful and electric. Dr. Chen, sensing the tension, murmured something about checking Emily's vitals and slipped away. Because she's not just my daughter, Nathaniel, Claire said, her voice barely audible. She's yours too. Emily is your daughter. The words hit Nathaniel like a physical blow. He staggered backward, catching himself against the wall. The bustling hospital sounds faded to white noise as blood roared in his ears. That's not possible, he managed, though even as he spoke, something deep inside him recognized the truth. We were careful. Always careful. Not that last weekend, Claire replied quietly. Remember the cabin in the Catskills? The storm knocked out the power and we... Stop. Nathaniel raised a hand. Memories of that passionate weekend flooding back. His mind raced, calculating dates. 8 years ago. A child of 7. The math aligned with painful precision. Why didn't you tell me? He demanded, voice rising. A passing nurse glanced their way, and he lowered his tone. Why, Claire? She wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly looking small. I found out I was pregnant and planned to tell you that night. But then what? Claire's eyes welled with tears. Your mother came to see me. Nathaniel's blood ran cold. Margaret Drake, the family matriarch, had never approved of Claire, a scholarship art student from Brooklyn with no family connections, no pedigree, nothing to offer the Drake empire except the love she held for its heir. What did she do? He asked, dreading the answer. Claire's voice was hollow as she recounted that afternoon. How Margaret had appeared at her tiny Brooklyn apartment, immaculate in Chanel, radiating cold authority. How she'd displayed photos of Nathaniel with Victoria Langford at elegant dinners, social events, European trips. See for yourself, she told me. My son is being groomed for responsibilities you could never understand. Would you ruin his future for a juvenile love affair? Do you really love him? Nathaniel's jaw clenched. Those events were business obligations, nothing more. I know that now, Claire whispered. But I was 22, scared, looking at photos of you with a woman who clearly belonged in your world. So you just left without even giving me a chance. She offered me $2 million to disappear, Claire continued, a flash of pride crossing her face. I refused. My dignity wasn't for sale, but I believed her poisonous words. I believed I'd be a burden, that our child would stain the Drake reputation, that true love meant letting you follow your destiny without the chains of poverty I represented. Nathaniel felt rage explode in his chest like volcanic lava. Victoria Langford. Those events were social obligations he'd hated. His mother had manipulated everything, constructed a false narrative to drive away the woman he loved. Where did you go? He asked, struggling to process the magnitude of his mother's betrayal. Portland, Oregon. I worked as a seamstress, housekeeper, waitress. Anything to raise Emily away from the spotlight. Claire's voice broke. I never regretted having her, but every day I regretted not giving you the chance to choose. Before Nathaniel could respond, a commotion erupted from Emily's room. They rushed inside to find Dr. Chen and a team of nurses surrounding the bed. Emily was awake, eyes wide with confusion and fear as medical staff adjusted equipment. What's happening? Claire cried, pushing forward. Her oxygen levels dropped suddenly, Dr. Chen explained. We're stabilizing her, but this confirms we need to move quickly. Emily's frightened gaze fixed on her mother, then shifted to Nathaniel. For the first time, he truly looked at the child, this small, fragile being who carried half his DNA. Her eyes were unmistakably Drake eyes, the same deep blue as his and his father's, the slight dimple in her chin, the way she furrowed her brow. He saw himself reflected in 1,000 tiny details. Mom. Emily's voice was faint, muffled by the oxygen mask. Who's he? Claire froze. Trapped between truth and protection, Nathaniel stepped forward instinctively. I'm an old friend of your mom's, he said softly. My name is Nathaniel. Emily studied him with surprising intensity for a child so ill. You look sad. The simple observation cut through his carefully constructed facade. "I was," he admitted, "but I'm feeling better now." Dr. Chen cleared her throat. "Mr. Drake, Ms. Bennett, we need to discuss Emily's treatment plan immediately. And," she hesitated, "we'll need that family medical history as soon as possible." As they stepped back into the hallway, Nathaniel's phone rang. Victoria Langford's name flashed on the screen. He declined the call with a decisive swipe. "I need to see my mother," he said, voice hard as granite. "Today," Claire touched his arm hesitantly. "Nathaniel, there's more you should know." He turned, bracing himself for another revelation. "Margaret Drake is dying," Claire said quietly. "Terminal pancreatic cancer. The nurse mentioned it when I gave Emily's admission information." Nathaniel's expression didn't change, but something shifted behind his eyes. A complex tangle of anger, grief, and bitter irony that the architect of his greatest loss was facing her own final curtain. "Then she'd better have answers," he said, striding toward the elevator. "Because I've waited 8 years. And I'm not waiting any longer." The Drake mansion stood like a fortress on the Upper East Side, its limestone facade gleaming despite the overcast sky. As Nathaniel's car pulled through the wrought iron gates, memories assaulted him. Childhood games on the manicured lawn, his father's rare but treasured words of praise, his mother's relentless grooming for a destiny he'd never fully embraced. 8 years ago, he'd moved out, purchasing a penthouse overlooking Central Park. The mansion had felt suffocating after Claire vanished. Now he understood why. Nathaniel strode through the grand foyer, ignoring Mrs. Reynolds, the housekeeper who'd helped raise him, as she hurried forward with concerned eyes. "Mr. Nathaniel, we weren't expecting you today. Your mother is..." "Where is she?" His voice echoed against marble floors. "Upstairs, in her room. But the doctor just left and said she needs rest. Perhaps tomorrow would be..." Nathaniel was already taking the stairs 2 at a time, his footsteps thundering against the mahogany staircase. The East Wing was silent, except for the soft beeping of medical equipment. He paused outside his mother's bedroom, momentarily hesitant, then pushed the door open without knocking. Margaret Drake was barely recognizable. The imposing, controlling woman who had dominated his life had transformed into a fragile figure, her body ravaged by a disease that spared neither rich nor poor. Her once immaculate silver hair lay thin against the silk pillowcase. IV tubes snaked from her arm to machines monitoring her decline. When she saw her son enter with blazing eyes of hatred, Margaret immediately knew he had discovered everything. "You destroyed my life," Nathaniel said with dangerous calm, each word dripping venom. Margaret closed her eyes, tears slipping down her temples. 8 years you stole from me, years I could have spent with the woman I love, and my child. His voice rose to a roar. "You robbed me of being a father." "I know, son," she whispered, "and I'll pay for it in eternity." Her frail hand reached for a glass of water. Nathaniel didn't move to help her, watching coldly as she struggled to take a sip. "Why?" he demanded. "What possible justification could you have for this cruelty?" Margaret set down the glass with trembling fingers. "I thought I was protecting you. From what? Happiness? Love? My own daughter? From what happened to me?" she replied, voice strengthening slightly. "When I married your father, his family rejected me completely. I was too common, too unrefined, the girl from Jersey City who caught the eye of Manhattan royalty." Her laugh turned into a painful cough. 20 years of charity galas, perfect manners, immaculate breeding. It was never enough. I was always the outsider. "So you punished Claire because of your own trauma." Nathaniel's contempt was palpable. "That's not protection. That's projection." Margaret's eyes watered. "I saw you two together, so in love, so oblivious to the real world. I remembered feeling that way myself, before society crushed it out of me. I didn't want that for you, Nathaniel. I didn't want you ostracized. Didn't want your children carrying that burden. That wasn't your decision to make," he shouted, years of suppressed rage erupting. "I loved her. I would have chosen her over everything. This house, the company, every dollar of the Drake fortune. You say that now, but..." "No," he cut her off. "You don't get to rewrite this. You showed Claire photos of me with Victoria." "Didn't you?" created this whole narrative that I was being groomed for another life. That was manipulation, not protection. Margaret's shoulders sagged with the weight of her sins. Yes, she admitted. I hired a photographer to create situations where you'd appear close to Victoria. I told Claire we'd use our influence to ensure she never found decent work in New York. Her voice cracked. The look in her eyes when she realized she had to leave. I'll never forget it. Nathaniel turned away, unable to bear the sight of his mother's frailty contrasting with the magnitude of her betrayal. I have a daughter, he said, more to himself than to Margaret. Her name is Emily. She's 7 years old and dying of a heart condition that could have been treated years ago if she'd had the Drake name and resources. Margaret's breath caught. A granddaughter. Don't, Nathaniel warned. You've forfeited any right to that title. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Mrs. Drake needs her medication. I must ask you to step out, Mr. Drake. Nathaniel moved toward the door, then stopped. All those years I searched for her. You knew where she was, didn't you? Margaret's silence was answer enough. I'm going back to the hospital now, to my daughter and the woman who should have been my wife, if Emily survives. And she will, because I'll move heaven and earth to make it happen. You'll never meet her. That's my promise to you, Mother. At Langley Holdings' elegant Midtown offices, Victoria Langford tapped manicured nails against her desk, frowning at her unanswered calls to Nathaniel, since their families had engineered their first accidental meeting at the Metropolitan Opera fundraiser 3 years ago. She'd been carefully positioning herself as the perfect partner for New York's most eligible bachelor. Victoria wasn't a fool. She knew Nathaniel didn't love her, might never love her, but love was hardly a requirement for the kind of power alliance their union would represent. Drake Construction combined with Langford Steel would create an unstoppable force in the development world. Her assistant knocked softly. Ms. Langford, your private investigator is here. Maxwell Cooper entered, his nondescript appearance belying his reputation as the city's most discreet and thorough information gatherer. You wanted information on Mr. Drake's hospital visit, he began without preamble, sliding a folder across her desk. He arrived at Mount Sinai yesterday with a woman named Claire Bennett and a child, Emily Bennett, age 7. The child was admitted for treatment of advanced hypoplastic left heart syndrome. Victoria frowned. Bennett? I don't recall that name in our circles. She's not in your circles, former art student at NYU, disappeared from New York 8 years ago, resurfaced in Portland, Oregon, works as a seamstress for a small boutique, barely making ends meet. He hesitated. There's something else. Hospital records list the child's birth date as approximately 9 months after Mrs. Bennett left New York. Victoria's blood ran cold as she calculated the implications. You're suggesting this child is Nathaniel's. I'm merely providing facts. Miss Langford, what you infer from them is your business. After Cooper left, Victoria stared at the dossier, mind racing. This explained everything. Nathaniel's persistent melancholy, his reluctance to commit, the way he sometimes looked through her rather than at her. Some ghost from his past had been haunting him all along, and now that ghost had materialized with the most powerful claim possible, a child. She reached for her phone, dialing a number she rarely used. Rodolfo. It's Victoria Langford. I need information about a Claire Bennett. Specifically her connection to the Drake family. Yes, it's urgent. And Rodolfo, be discreet. Back at Mount Sinai, Emily had stabilized enough to sit up and take some clear liquids. Claire sat beside her bed, reading from Emily's worn copy of The Secret Garden, a story about another sickly child finding healing in family. When Nathaniel returned, his face was etched with lines of anger and grief. Claire stood immediately. How did it go? She admitted everything, he said flatly. Every manipulation, every lie. Emily looked up curiously. Who admitted what? Nathaniel and Claire exchanged glances. The moment stretched between them, heavy with unspoken questions. Sweetheart, Claire said gently, there's something important we need to tell you about Nathaniel. Emily's intelligent eyes moved between them. Is he my dad? She asked simply. Claire gasped. How did you have the same eyes, Emily said, looking at Nathaniel. And the same wrinkle thing when you're thinking hard, she demonstrated by furrowing her brow in perfect imitation of Nathaniel's contemplative expression. Despite everything, Nathaniel felt a smile tug at his lips. He approached the bed cautiously, as if Emily might disappear if he moved too quickly. "Yes," he said softly. "I am your dad, and I'm so sorry I haven't been there for you." Emily studied him solemnly. "It's okay. Mom says sometimes grown-ups make mistakes because they're scared." Her simple forgiveness nearly broke him. Nathaniel Drake, who negotiated billion-dollar deals without blinking, found himself fighting back tears before a 7-year-old in a hospital gown. "That's true," he agreed, his voice rough. "But I'm not scared anymore, and I'm going to do everything I can to make you better." Emily's face brightened. "Does that mean we're staying in New York? Mom said we couldn't afford it, but I really wanted to see the Empire State Building." "Emily," Claire admonished gently. "We'll see it together," Nathaniel promised. "The Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, everything, once you're better." As if on cue, Dr. Chen entered with a tablet in hand. "Mr. Drake, Ms. Bennett, can I speak with you outside for a moment?" They followed her into the corridor, where her expression confirmed their fears before she spoke a word. "Emily's condition has progressed significantly. We need to move up our timeline. I'm recommending immediate listing for heart transplant, but given her condition," she hesitated, "there are experimental options we should discuss immediately." Dr. Chen led them to a small conference room, closing the door for privacy. The sterile space with its laminated diagrams of the human heart felt oddly appropriate for the conversation about to unfold. "Emily's left ventricle is severely underdeveloped," she began, displaying images on a wall-mounted screen. "The previous surgeries in Portland were stopgap measures. What she needs now is either a full heart transplant or a radical new approach." "A transplant could take months," Nathaniel interjected. "Judging by your expression, she doesn't have months." Dr. Chen nodded grimly. "Normally, I'd list her as status 1A, highest priority. But even then, finding a suitable pediatric heart is incredibly difficult. There's another option, though it's experimental." She brought up another image. "Dr. Andrew Collins at Boston Children's has pioneered a procedure using bioengineered tissue grafts combined with the patient's own stem cells. It could regenerate Emily's heart function without rejection risks of a transplant." "What's the catch?" Claire asked, sensing hesitation in the doctor's tone. "3 things. First, it's extremely expensive. $5 million minimum. Second, it's experimental, with only 8 successful cases worldwide. And third," she hesitated, "we'd need Dr. Collins himself. He doesn't typically take outside cases." Nathaniel's expression hardened with determination. "The cost is irrelevant. As for Dr. Collins," he pulled out his phone, scrolling through contacts. "My foundation donated to his research lab last year. I'll have him here by tomorrow." Dr. Chen looked impressed despite herself. "That would be remarkable. It's what any father would do," Nathaniel replied simply. After the doctor left, Claire collapsed into a chair, the weight of the situation finally overwhelming her. $5 million, she whispered. "In Portland, I couldn't even afford her regular medications some months. I had to choose between her heart pills and rent." Nathaniel knelt before her, taking her hands in his. "You don't have to do this alone anymore, Claire. I know 8 years of struggle can't be erased overnight. But please, let me be Emily's father now." Claire looked up, her eyes reflecting years of solitary burden. "I should have told you. Every birthday, every milestone, every hospital stay. I should have swallowed my pride and called you. And I should have looked harder," he countered. "Deep down, I think I knew you wouldn't have left without a reason." He hesitated. "There's something else we need to discuss, my mother. She's asking to see you." Claire stiffened. "Why would I ever?" "I know," he interrupted. "I told her the same. But she's dying, Claire. The doctors give her weeks, maybe days." "Good," Claire said, then immediately looked ashamed. "I'm sorry, that was cruel." "It was honest," Nathaniel replied. "After what she did, neither of us owes her forgiveness." Claire was quiet for a moment. "What did she say exactly?" "She said she needs to make amends before she dies. That she can't take this weight with her." He ran a hand through his hair. Classic Margaret Drake, making even her deathbed about her own peace of mind. Claire considered this. "I'll think about it right now. Emily needs us focused on her care, not old wounds." Nathaniel nodded, grateful for her pragmatism, It was one of the qualities that had first drawn him to her, Claire's ability to cut through emotional clutter to what truly mattered. His phone buzzed with a message from his executive assistant, board emergency meeting called, Victoria's father leading it. Questions about your sudden financial commitments. Need response ASAP. Nathaniel swore under his breath. News traveled fast in their circles. Edward Langford was on his board, a connection Margaret had engineered years ago, obviously hoping to cement a future merger through marriage. I need to handle something at the office, he told Claire. Will you be okay here? She gave him a small smile. We've managed without you for 8 years, Nate. We can handle a few hours. The familiar nickname stirred something in his chest. I know you can, but you don't have to anymore. Across town, in the Drake Industries boardroom, Victoria Langford sat beside her father, watching expressions around the mahogany table as Edward Langford addressed the assembled directors. Nathaniel's absence speaks volumes, he was saying. Reports indicate he's committed company resources to experimental medical treatments without board approval. As the second largest shareholder, I have concerns about his judgment. With all due respect, countered James Wilson, Drake's longtime CFO and Nathaniel's ally. Mr. Drake has complete authority to allocate funds from his discretionary budget. $5 million is hardly discretionary, Edward replied smoothly, particularly when it's for a personal matter rather than company business. What personal matter? Asked another board member. Victoria cleared her throat delicately. I hesitate to bring this up, but in the interest of transparency, she slid folders across the table. Nathaniel has apparently discovered he has a child from a previous entanglement. The money is for this child's medical care. The room erupted in murmurs. Victoria maintained a concerned expression, while inwardly celebrating the seeds of doubt she was planting. The boardroom doors burst open, and Nathaniel strode in, impeccably dressed, but with unmistakable fury in his eyes. Interesting meeting topic. Edward, he said coldly, I wasn't aware my personal life fell under board jurisdiction. When it impacts company finances, it does, Edward replied. We've heard disturbing reports. Let me clarify those reports, Nathaniel interrupted. Yes, I've committed personal funds, not company resources, to save my daughter's life. Any parent in this room would do the same. And yes, I've just learned about her existence due to circumstances beyond my control. His gaze locked with Victoria's. Circumstances I'm still uncovering. Victoria's smile remained fixed, but her eyes narrowed slightly. The board simply has concerns about your focus during this personal situation, she said carefully. My focus. Nathaniel's laugh held no humor. My focus has expanded to include my daughter, but my commitment to this company remains absolute. Now, unless there's actual business to discuss, I have a child in the hospital who needs me. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Victoria, I won't be attending the charity gala. Send my regrets. As the door closed behind him, Victoria's perfectly manicured nails dug into her palm. This wasn't going as planned. She needed more leverage, more information. She needed Rodolfo Mendez back at the hospital. Claire sat by Emily's bedside, watching her sleep. The child's chest rose and fell with worrying irregularity. Her breathing labored even in rest. A nurse had just administered her evening medications, and the brief pain of the injection had exhausted her. Claire's phone vibrated with a text from an unknown number. Miss Bennett, I'm Margaret Drake's private nurse. She's asking for you. Her condition has worsened. If you're willing to see her, please come tonight. Claire stared at the message, conflicted emotions churning inside her. The woman had destroyed 8 years of what could have been happiness. She'd robbed Nathaniel of his daughter's early years, robbed Emily of her father's love and support. Yet something in Claire, the part that had been raised to believe in redemption, in second chances, couldn't ignore a dying woman's plea. She texted Nathaniel, Your mother's nurse says her condition is worse. She's asking to see me. Should I go? His reply came quickly. Only if you want to. I'll come back and stay with Emily if you decide to go. An hour later, with Nathaniel keeping vigil by their daughter's bed, Claire found herself climbing the imposing steps of the Drake mansion. The elderly housekeeper led her through hushed corridors to Margaret's room, her sympathetic glances making Claire even more uncomfortable. Margaret Drake looked worse than Claire had imagined possible. The imperious woman who had once towered over her in designer suits was now a skeletal figure drowning in silk bedding, connected to machines that beeped monotonously. When their eyes met, the matriarch began crying compulsively. "Claire, forgive me. Please forgive this foolish old woman." Claire remained standing, keeping distance between them. "Why did you ask me here, Margaret?" The older woman's paper-thin hand trembled as she reached toward Claire. "Because I need to tell you the truth before I die. The whole truth, even the parts Nathaniel doesn't know." Claire reluctantly took the chair beside Margaret's bed, maintaining a careful emotional distance despite their physical proximity. The medical equipment created an electronic symphony around them, marking the older woman's declining heartbeats. "What truth?" Claire asked, unable to keep the edge from her voice. Margaret's breath rattled in her chest as she struggled to sit up slightly. "First, you should know that I was once you." She gestured weakly at a silver-framed photograph on her nightstand. A much younger Margaret, laughing in the arms of a handsome man with Nathaniel's eyes. "Richard Drake's family despised me," she continued. "I was a secretary in his father's company. They called me a gold digger, said I'd trapped their golden boy." A bitter smile crossed her face. "They were wrong. We were genuinely in love, but they made our lives miserable for years. Richard's father threatened to disinherit him. His mother spread vicious rumors about me in their social circles. So you decided to do the same to me?" Claire interrupted. "Continue the cycle of cruelty." Margaret closed her eyes briefly. "I told myself I was protecting Nathaniel from the pain I'd endured. But the truth is, I was protecting my own position." Her voice dropped to a near whisper. "After decades of fighting to be accepted, I finally had respect in those circles. The thought of them whispering about my son and his inappropriate choice. I loved him," Claire said simply. "We could have faced anything together. I know that now, watching Nathaniel these past 8 years. Successful, but hollow. Accomplished, but unhappy." Margaret's skeletal hand moved toward a drawer in her bedside table. "Help me, please." Against her better judgment, Claire opened the drawer. Inside was a leather portfolio. "Take it," Margaret urged. "It contains everything you might need to protect yourself and Emily. And Nathaniel." Claire frowned, opening the portfolio to find legal documents, financial records, and photographs. "Protect ourselves from what?" "From Rodolfo Mendez." Margaret's expression darkened. "My late husband's former business partner. He helped me. Arrange things when you left. Fabricated some of those photos with Victoria. Spread rumors. Kept tabs on you in Portland." Claire's blood ran cold. "You had me watched. Intermittently, I needed to ensure you stayed away." Margaret's admission came with a fresh wave of tears. "But Rodolfo kept more detailed surveillance than I'd authorized. When I discovered this and tried to end our arrangement last year, he threatened to tell Nathaniel everything unless I continued paying him." "Blackmail," Claire said flatly. Margaret nodded weakly. "He's dangerous, Claire. Not physically, perhaps, but he knows things about the Drake family. Legitimate business dealings he can twist to appear illegal. And now he's working with Victoria Langford. Victoria, the woman from the photos. Edward Langford's daughter. They've been trying to orchestrate a merger through marriage for years." Margaret's laugh turned into a painful cough. "She's as opportunistic as her father." Claire examined the documents, finding records of substantial payments to Mendez, surveillance reports on her movements in Portland, and detailed information about Victoria Langford's financial ties to several board members at Drake Industries. "Why give me this?" "Because you'll need it," Margaret replied. "When Nathaniel commits those millions to save Emily, Victoria and Rodolfo will move against him. They've been waiting for any sign of weakness." Her breath grew more labored. "There's one more thing you should know about Emily's condition." Claire tensed. "What about it?" "Heart conditions run in the Drake family. Richard died of a congenital heart defect. Though he was 45, his father too at 60. The family always kept it quiet. Bad for business, bad for the bloodline's reputation." Margaret's eyes filled with fresh tears. "When I saw the news reports about experimental heart treatments in Boston 5 years ago, I knew they might help my granddaughter, but contacting you meant admitting what I'd done." Claire stood abruptly, anger radiating from her. "You knew about treatments that could have helped Emily, and you said nothing. Do you know what we've been through?" The nights I stayed awake watching her struggle to breathe, the times I had to choose between her medications and our rent. I was a coward, Margaret whispered. The cancer diagnosis finally gave me courage. Nothing like death to clarify one's priorities. Claire gathered the portfolio, her hands shaking. I don't forgive you. I might never forgive you. I don't expect forgiveness, Margaret replied. Just take care of them. Nathaniel and Emily deserve happiness I nearly destroyed. As Claire turned to leave, Margaret called out weakly, Wait, one last thing. She reached for an envelope on her nightstand. For Emily, when she's older. Claire hesitated, then took the envelope, slipping it into the portfolio without another word. At Mount Sinai, Dr. Andrew Collins had arrived from Boston, summoned by Nathaniel's influence and the promise of a substantial research grant. Tall and distinguished with prematurely silver hair, Collins exuded confidence as he reviewed Emily's records beside her bed. Fascinating case, he murmured, more to himself than to Nathaniel or Dr. Chen. The ventricular underdevelopment follows the classic Drake pattern, but with unique compensatory growth in the right chambers. Nathaniel's head snapped up. Drake pattern? What are you talking about? Collins looked surprised. The Drake cardiac anomaly. It's not widely published, but in cardiology research circles, it's a known genetic variation. He studied Nathaniel's confused expression. You didn't know. Your family has a documented history of congenital heart defects. Your father's case study is in our medical school textbooks. Anonymized. Of course, but distinctive. A cold realization washed over Nathaniel. His father's heart attack at 45 had been sudden, unexpected. The family had never discussed details, and he'd been too grief-stricken to question the official story. My mother never mentioned this, he said tightly. Collins nodded sympathetically. Families often keep these conditions private. Stigma, insurance concerns, various reasons. Or to manipulate and control, Nathaniel muttered. Emily stirred on her bed, her small voice interrupting the medical discussion. Is this another doctor? Are you going to fix my heart? Collins approached her with a warm smile that transformed his academic demeanor. Hello, Miss Emily. Yes, I'm Dr. Collins, and I've fixed hearts even more special than yours. Emily studied him suspiciously. My last doctor in Portland said that too, but it still hurts when I try to run. Well, I'm going to try something different, Collins explained, sitting on the edge of her bed. Instead of just fixing your heart, we're going to help it grow stronger on its own. Emily's eyes widened. Like in my garden, Mom and I grew tomatoes from tiny seeds. Exactly like that, Collins agreed. We'll help your heart grow the parts it needs. While Collins continued explaining the procedure to Emily in child-friendly terms, Nathaniel stepped outside to call his office. His CFO, James Wilson, answered immediately. Nathaniel, we have a situation. The board is calling for an emergency session tomorrow. Edward Langford is making noise about temporary leadership changes, citing your personal distractions. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Let me guess. With Victoria as the suggested interim CEO. Got it in one, Wilson confirmed. There's more. Rodolfo Mendez has been meeting with several board members, showing them some kind of documentation. I couldn't get details, but it's creating waves. Mendez. The name was vaguely familiar. An associate of his father's. Later his mother's financial advisor. What's his angle? Unclear. But he and Victoria left the last meeting looking entirely too pleased with themselves. Nathaniel was formulating a response when Claire rushed through the hospital corridor, clutching a leather portfolio. We need to talk, she said urgently. Your mother told me everything. About Mendez, Victoria, and a plot against you. Before she could elaborate, Dr. Chen emerged from Emily's room with an alarmed expression. Mr. Drake, Mrs. Bennett, Emily's oxygen levels are dropping again. Dr. Collins wants to move up the procedure. We need to prep her immediately. Claire's face drained of color. How soon? Tonight, Dr. Chen replied. Her heart can't wait any longer. Nathaniel placed a steadying hand on Claire's shoulder. Whatever's in that portfolio will have to wait. Right now, all that matters is Emily. As they hurried back into the room, Nathaniel's phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. Sorry to hear about your daughter's condition. The board and I are concerned about how this might affect Drake Industries. Let's discuss over dinner tonight. I can help smooth things over." He deleted the message without responding, his focus entirely on the small figure in the hospital bed, his daughter, fighting for her life while corporate vultures circled, waiting for their opportunity to strike. The surgical prep room buzzed with controlled urgency as Dr. Collins assembled his team. Emily lay on the gurney, looking impossibly small amid the medical equipment, her brave smile betrayed by fear in her eyes. Claire held her hand, maintaining a calm facade that cost her dearly. "Remember our special breathing?" Claire asked, demonstrating the technique they'd practiced through countless medical procedures. Emily nodded, inhaling slowly, like the ocean waves, in for 4, out for 4. Nathaniel stood awkwardly at the foot of the gurney, new to this ritual that mother and daughter had perfected over years of hospital visits. He'd missed so much. First words, first steps, first day of school. Now he might witness his daughter's last moments if the surgery failed. The thought sent a visceral pain through his chest. Dr. Collins approached, surgical cap already in place. "We're ready to begin. The procedure will take approximately 6 hours. We'll use the bioengineered scaffold to support Emily's left ventricle, while stem cells harvested from her bone marrow stimulate new cardiac tissue growth." "And the success rate?" Nathaniel asked, his businessman's instinct for data asserting itself. Collins exchanged glances with Dr. Chen. "In cases like Emily's, about 60%. But every case is unique." Claire's voice broke as she asked, "And if it doesn't work, then we'll move to Plan B, immediate listing for heart transplant at the highest priority level." Collins's expression softened. "But let's focus on Plan A succeeding, shall we?" A nurse approached, indicating it was time. Claire bent to kiss Emily's forehead, whispering fiercely, "You're the strongest girl I know. I love you more than all the stars. Love you more than all the oceans," Emily replied. Their familiar exchange. Nathaniel hesitated, then leaned down. "I've only been your dad for a day, but I'm already so proud of you, Emily. I'll be right here when you wake up." Emily reached for his hand, her tiny fingers curling around his. "Promise, promise," he replied, his throat tight with emotion, as the medical team wheeled Emily toward the operating room. Claire finally broke, her composure crumbling as sobs racked her body. Nathaniel pulled her into his arms, her tears soaking his shirt. "She's so small," Claire wept. "She's been through so much already." Nathaniel held her, feeling the weight of their shared fear. "She's a Drake, and she's clearly got your strength. That's a powerful combination." Claire pulled back, wiping her eyes. "There's something I need to show you while we wait." She retrieved Margaret's portfolio from her bag. "Your mother gave me this. It explains a lot." They found a quiet family consultation room, where Nathaniel examined the documents, his expression darkening as he absorbed the evidence of his mother's manipulation, and the new threats from Rodolfo Mendez and the Langfords. "This surveillance on you and Emily," he said, holding up detailed reports. "It's criminal. Margaret said Mendez kept closer tabs than she'd authorized," Claire explained. She seemed genuinely afraid of him. Nathaniel's laugh was bitter. "My mother... afraid, that's new. She's not the woman you knew, Nathaniel. The cancer has..." "Don't," he interrupted sharply. "Don't make excuses for her. Cancer may be killing her body, but it didn't create her capacity for manipulation." Claire fell silent, unable to disagree. After a moment, she said softly, "She told me about your family's heart condition, that it's genetic, passed down through Drake generations." Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Another secret she kept. "If I'd known, we could have tested Emily as an infant, started treatments years earlier. That's why I can't forgive her," Claire admitted. "Not for separating us. That was cruel enough. But for knowing about treatments that might have helped Emily and staying silent." Nathaniel gathered the documents, his mind shifting to strategic mode. "These give us leverage against Mendez. But Victoria and her father are still problems. They've been positioning for a hostile takeover for years, using me as the entry point. Through marriage," Claire stated flatly. "A merger of empires," he confirmed. "The Drake construction expertise combined with Langford steel production would create a vertical integration powerhouse." He rubbed his temples. "I never wanted it, but kept the possibility open to appease my mother and the board." Claire studied him. "And now, A grim smile crossed his face. Now I have something worth fighting for. The surgical hours stretched endlessly. Claire paced the waiting room while Nathaniel worked his phone, making arrangements to counter the board's emergency session. Occasionally their eyes met across the room, sharing wordless concern for Emily. Near midnight, Nathaniel's phone rang with a call from the Drake mansion. "Mr. Drake." Mrs. Reynolds' voice wavered. "You need to come quickly, your mother. She's failing rapidly." Nathaniel closed his eyes. Conflicted, his hatred toward Margaret remained potent, but something primitive, the basic bond between mother and child, pulled at him. "I can't leave the hospital, Mrs. Reynolds. My daughter is in surgery." "She's asking for you," the housekeeper persisted. "The hospice nurse says she won't last the night." After ending the call, he explained the situation to Claire, who looked at him with surprising compassion. "Go," she said. "If not for her, then for yourself. You'll never get another chance to say what you need to say." "What about Emily?" "I'll call the moment there's news," Claire promised. "Some things can't wait, Nathaniel." The Drake mansion was eerily silent as Nathaniel climbed the familiar staircase. In the east wing, a hospice nurse nodded respectfully as he entered his mother's room. Margaret looked already gone, her skin translucent, her breath a shallow whisper. When Nathaniel approached, her eyes fluttered open, recognition dawning slowly. "You came," she whispered. "Not for you," he replied coldly. "For me." She nodded weakly. "That's fair." With trembling fingers, she reached for an envelope on her nightstand. "Take this, don't open it, until Emily is safe." Nathaniel accepted it reluctantly. "More secrets. Protection," she murmured. "For all of you." A rattling breath shook her frail body. "I was wrong, Nathaniel. So wrong. About Claire, about what you needed." Tears slipped from the corners of her eyes. "I became the very thing I hated, a gatekeeper to happiness." Nathaniel remained silent, neither offering forgiveness nor increasing her burden. "Your father would have loved Emily," Margaret continued, her voice fading. "He always wanted a granddaughter." "Did he know?" Nathaniel asked suddenly. "About Claire, about Emily." Margaret shook her head slightly. "He was already gone, but he would have welcomed Claire. He was a better person than I was." "Yes," Nathaniel agreed simply. "He was." Margaret's eyes drifted to the ceiling. "I'm afraid, Nathaniel, not of dying, but of what waits beyond. How do you atone for stealing someone's happiness?" Despite himself, Nathaniel took his mother's cold hand. "I don't know." They sat in silence as her breathing grew more labored. Finally, she turned to him with surprising lucidity. "Promise me one thing." "What?" "Don't let my mistakes define your life anymore. I've stolen enough time from you already." Before he could respond, his phone vibrated. Claire's text made his heart stop. "Emily's in trouble. Come back now." Nathaniel stood abruptly. "I have to go, Emily." Understanding crossed Margaret's face. "Go. Be the parent I failed to be." As he rushed toward the door, her whisper followed him. "I do love you, Nathaniel. My greatest sin was showing it so wrongly." He hesitated at the threshold, not turning back. "Goodbye, Mother." The hospital corridors stretched endlessly as Nathaniel ran toward the surgical wing, his mother's envelope clutched in his hand, her last words echoing in his mind. Whatever redemption Margaret sought would have to come without his explicit forgiveness. All that mattered now was the tiny life hanging in the balance. His daughter, his future, his second chance. Nathaniel burst into the surgical waiting area to find Claire surrounded by medical staff. Her face was ashen, eyes wide with fear, as Dr. Chen spoke in urgent tones. "What's happening?" he demanded, breathless from his sprint through the hospital. Claire turned to him, her voice trembling. "Emily's heart stopped during the procedure. They resuscitated her, but Dr. Collins says they need to try something more radical." "Dr." Chen nodded grimly. "The bioengineered scaffold isn't integrating as expected. Emily's heart is too weak to maintain circulation while the stem cells establish themselves." "What are our options?" Nathaniel asked, slipping automatically into crisis management mode. Dr. Collins emerged from the operating suite, still in surgical scrubs stained with Emily's blood. Despite his exhaustion, his eyes were alert, focused. "We have one option left," he said without preamble. "A partial heart transplant using living donor tissue," Claire gasped. "Is that even possible?" It's experimental, Collins admitted. We'd take living cardiac tissue from a compatible donor and integrate it with Emily's heart, essentially creating a hybrid organ. I've performed the procedure twice before, once successfully. The gravity of his words settled over them like a physical weight. And the donor? Nathaniel asked, already suspecting the answer. Collins looked him directly in the eye. Ideally a biological relative with compatible markers. You're her father. Our preliminary tests show you're a potential match. The risks? Claire asked, her hand finding Nathaniel's instinctively. For Emily, it's her best chance. Around 40% success rate versus near certain failure with our current approach. Collins hesitated. For the donor, there's significant risk. Harvesting living cardiac tissue isn't like donating a kidney. We'd be taking functional material from Nathaniel's heart. Would it kill him? Claire's voice broke on the question. No, but it would permanently reduce his cardiac function. Perhaps 20 to 30% loss of capacity. Physical limitations. Potential need for medications long-term. Collins looked squarely at Nathaniel. You'd never run a marathon or climb mountains, but you could live a relatively normal life. Nathaniel didn't hesitate. Do it. Wait, Claire protested. You need to think about this. There's nothing to think about, Nathaniel interrupted. She's our daughter. Collins nodded. We need to move quickly, Mr. Drake. We'll need to run final compatibility tests and prep you for surgery immediately. As medical staff swept Nathaniel away for testing, Claire followed, her mind reeling. In the span of 3 days, she'd gone from desperate single mother to watching Emily's newfound father risk his life to save her. The universe had a twisted sense of balance. While nurses drew Nathaniel's blood and attached monitoring equipment, Claire stood nearby, watching the man she once loved, perhaps still loved, prepare to sacrifice part of his heart for their daughter. This isn't how I imagined our reunion, she said quietly. Nathaniel's laugh held no humor. What? You didn't plan on me literally giving my heart to our family? Our family, Claire repeated, testing the words. Is that what we are? Before Nathaniel could answer, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen and frowned. James Wilson, my CFO. I need to take this. Claire nodded, stepping out to give him privacy. James, what's happening? Nathaniel asked tersely. It's bad, Wilson replied. The board voted this morning. With you absent and supposedly emotionally compromised, they've temporarily suspended your authority. Victoria Langford has been named interim CEO, effective immediately. They can't do that without majority shareholder approval, Nathaniel countered. I own 49%. That's just it. They've produced documents showing your mother transferred 5% of her holdings to Rodolfo Mendez last year. With his vote, they reached the threshold. Nathaniel's mind raced. Those documents must be forged. My mother would never... That's not all, Wilson interrupted. Mendez has submitted financial records suggesting you've been siphoning company funds for personal use. Specifically, your daughter's medical care. That's absurd. I've used my personal accounts, not company funds. I know that, but they've manufactured a convincing paper trail, and without you here to defend yourself... Wilson paused. There's more. Victoria called a press conference for noon today to address the leadership transition and financial irregularities at Drake Industries. Cold fury built in Nathaniel's chest. They were using Emily's crisis to stage a corporate coup, tarnishing his reputation in the process. The timing was too perfect to be coincidental. James, listen carefully. Contact Alicia Martinez at Martinez Legal. Have her prepare an injunction against any press conferences or public statements regarding Drake Industries. Then access the secure server in my office. Password Catskills 1017. You'll find contingency files documenting every transaction I've ever made. They'll prove those allegations false. A nurse appeared, signaling it was time for pre-op procedures. I have to go. James, I'm heading into surgery. Surgery? Wilson sounded alarmed. Nathaniel, what's... Emily needs me, he said simply. The company will have to wait. As Nathaniel ended the call, Claire returned, her own phone clutched in her hand, expression troubled. The hospital just received a call from a reporter asking about disgraced CEO Nathaniel Drake and his secret love child. Her voice shook with anger. They're using Emily's condition for a hit piece. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Victoria and Mendez. They're making their move while they think I'm vulnerable. What do we do? He reached for his jacket, retrieving Margaret's sealed envelope. Maybe it's time to see what my mother's last secret was. Inside, they found a notarized confession detailing Margaret's arrangement with Mendez, including dates, amounts paid, and his recent blackmail attempts. More damning were signed affidavits from Margaret's private nurse and lawyer, witnessing Mendez's threats when she refused further payments. This could destroy their entire narrative, Claire breathed. But not in time, Nathaniel replied grimly. I'll be in surgery for hours, and Victoria's press conference is at noon. Claire straightened, a determined look replacing her uncertainty. Then I'll handle it. Claire, I've fought for Emily alone for 8 years, she interrupted. I can fight for both of you for one day. She held up the portfolio. Give me access to whoever I need. Your lawyers, your PR team, trusted board members, anyone who can help stop this. Nathaniel studied her, seeing not the art student he'd fallen for, but a woman forged by years of solitary struggle. He reached for a pen and hospital notepad, scribbling quickly. These are the names and private numbers of everyone you'll need. My executive assistant, Meredith, will coordinate. He hesitated. Are you sure about this? It could get ugly. Claire's smile was fierce. They're threatening my daughter's father while he's saving her life. I've never been more ready for a fight. As nurses arrived to take Nathaniel to pre-op, he caught Claire's hand. When this is over, if we both make it through, we should talk about that family question. Claire squeezed his hand, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Save our daughter first. Then we'll talk about saving us. Dr. Collins appeared in surgical garb. It's time, Mr. Drake. As they wheeled Nathaniel toward the operating room, Claire watched the father of her child prepare to make the ultimate sacrifice. Whatever happened with Drake Industries, whatever Victoria and Mendez had planned, one truth remained absolute. The man she'd once loved enough to leave was now loving their daughter enough to risk everything. And that changed everything. The operating room hummed with tense concentration as Dr. Collins worked simultaneously on father and daughter. 2 surgical teams coordinated with balletic precision, transferring living tissue from Nathaniel's heart to Emily's failing one. Monitors beeped steadily, marking each precious heartbeat as the doctors essentially rewired the very essence of life itself. Harvesting complete, announced the lead surgeon working on Nathaniel. Tissue viability at 93%. Dr. Collins nodded without looking up from Emily's exposed heart, impossibly small in her open chest cavity. Prepare for transfer. We have a 4-minute window before cellular degradation begins. The specialized courier moved between the adjacent operating tables, carrying the living heart tissue in a temperature-controlled container. In that moment, the physical connection between father and daughter became literal. A piece of Nathaniel's heart would now live inside Emily, keeping her alive. Beginning integration, Collins murmured, his hands moving with microscopic precision. Stem cell solution ready. Outside in the waiting area, Claire paced relentlessly, torn between her vigil at the hospital and the corporate battle unfolding across town. Meredith, Nathaniel's fiercely loyal executive assistant, had arrived an hour earlier, transforming the family consultation room into a makeshift command center. 2 laptops, multiple phones, and stacks of documents covered every surface. Martinez Legal has filed the injunction, Meredith reported, phone pressed to her ear. But the judge hasn't ruled yet. Victoria's press conference is scheduled to start in 20 minutes. Claire rubbed her temples, fighting exhaustion. What about the board members Nathaniel marked as allies? 3 are solidly with us, 2 are wavering. 4 are firmly with Victoria and Mendez. Meredith's efficiency was matched only by her evident devotion to Nathaniel. Without Nathaniel present to counter their claims, Claire studied Margaret's documents again, an idea forming. What if we had someone else the board would respect? Someone with the Drake name and authority. Meredith looked up sharply. Margaret Drake is dying, if not already gone. But they don't know that, Claire countered. And her private nurse owes me a favor. At Drake Industries headquarters, Victoria Langford reviewed her notes one final time before the press conference. Her tailored Armani suit projected exactly the right image. Professional concern masking triumphant ambition. After years of maneuvering, the company was within her grasp. The media is assembled, her assistant informed her. All major financial outlets and local stations. Perfect, Victoria murmured. And Mr. Mendez, waiting in your office with the additional documentation. Victoria smiled. Rodolfo Mendez had proven unexpectedly useful. His decades-long obsession with the Drake family providing leverage she'd never anticipated. His desire for revenge against Margaret, coupled with his extensive knowledge of Drake Industries' inner workings, had accelerated her timeline by years. Her phone buzzed with a message from her father. Judge Patterson denied the injunction. Proceed as planned. Victoria straightened her shoulders and headed for the conference room. By day's end, the Drake empire would effectively be hers, and Nathaniel would be too compromised, both physically and professionally, to stop her. The elevator doors opened to reveal a scene she hadn't expected. James Wilson stood with several board members. Huddled around a laptop, their expressions shifted from concern to surprise as they noticed her. Victoria, Wilson acknowledged coolly. I believe we need to postpone the press conference. On what grounds? She challenged. The board has voted. The transition is official. There's been a development, Wilson replied, turning the laptop to show a video call in progress. On screen was Margaret Drake, propped up in her hospital bed but undeniably present. Beside her stood a nurse and what appeared to be a notary public. Victoria. Margaret's voice was weak but clear. I understand you're planning to announce some changes at my family's company. Victoria faltered momentarily before recovering. Margaret, I'm surprised to see you. We were told you were indisposed. Dying, Margaret corrected bluntly. Which I am, but not quickly enough to miss witnessing your attempted theft of my son's company while he undergoes life-threatening surgery to save his daughter. Murmurs spread among the board members. Victoria's smile tightened. With all due respect, the board has already voted based on documented concerns about Nathaniel's judgment and potential financial improprieties. Fabricated documents, Margaret countered. Created by Rodolfo Mendez, who has been blackmailing me for years. She gestured weakly. And the nurse held up papers to the camera. My full confession, detailing every interaction with Mendez, has already been sent to each board member's email and copied to the SEs. Victoria's blood ran cold. She glanced toward her office where Mendez waited. Suddenly a liability rather than an asset. Additionally, Margaret continued, I've never transferred any shares to Mr. Mendez. The documents showing such a transfer are forgeries, as my lawyer will confirm. The camera panned to show an elderly gentleman in a suit. Nodding gravely, Victoria fought to maintain composure as her carefully constructed plan imploded. Margaret, you're clearly unwell. These accusations are all documented, interrupted a new voice. The elevator doors opened again to reveal Claire Bennett, still wearing the same clothes from the hospital, but carrying herself with unexpected authority. She stepped into the room, Meredith at her side. Ms. Langford, Claire said calmly, while Nathaniel Drake donates part of his living heart to save our daughter. You plan to steal his company and destroy his reputation. She placed a file on the conference table. These are the original surveillance reports your partner Mendez compiled while stalking me and my child for 8 years. A federal crime, by the way. The board members looked between Victoria and Claire, shock evident on their faces. Who exactly are you? Victoria demanded, though she knew the answer. I'm Emily Drake's mother, Claire replied simply, and I'm here because her father can't be. Back in the operating room, alarms suddenly blared from Emily's monitors. Pressure's dropping, called a nurse. Heart rate becoming erratic. Dr. Collins worked frantically. The graft is struggling to integrate. Her body's rejecting it. Sir, the donor's vitals are also destabilizing, reported the second team's lead. We've got arrhythmia. The synchronized monitors tracking father and daughter both showed dangerous patterns, as if their hearts, even separated, were echoing each other's distress. Push 1 milligram epinephrine for the donor, ordered the anesthesiologist, and prepare the defibrillator. Collins made a split-second decision. Change of protocol, increase the stem cell concentration by 30% and apply directly to the integration site. That exceeds tested parameters, his assistant warned. This is our only shot, Collins replied grimly. Otherwise, we lose both of them. As medical teams fought to save both Drakes, their heartbeats continued their dangerous dance, slowing, faltering, each mirroring the other's struggle in a biological echo of their newly discovered bond. In Emily's tiny chest, the piece of her father's heart fluttered weakly, not yet recognizing its new home. In Nathaniel's chest, his wounded heart struggled to adapt to its diminished state. For one terrifying moment, both flatlined simultaneously. Cardiac arrest, both patients. The call echoed across the operating room as teams rushed with defibrillators. Charging to 200. Clear. 2 bodies arched under controlled electrical current. 2 hearts, genetically linked, physically separated, yet inexplicably synchronized, stood at the threshold between life and death. The monitors remained ominously flat. Again, charging to 300, clear. As electricity coursed through their bodies a second time, the unthinkable happened. Both monitors beeped simultaneously, a single heartbeat, then another, slowly establishing tentative rhythms. "We've got sinus rhythm," announced the anesthesiologist, disbelief evident in his voice. Both patients. Dr. Collins stared at the monitors in professional amazement. "I've never seen synchronicity like this. It's as if they refused to leave each other," finished his assistant softly. Collins refocused on Emily's open chest cavity, where something miraculous was happening. The transplanted tissue was changing color, from the gray of distressed tissue to healthy pink. "The graft is taking hold," he announced. "Integration proceeding at unprecedented rate." He glanced at the other surgical team. "How's our donor?" "Stabilizing. Heart function at 65% of normal and holding. For the first time in hours." Collins allowed himself a small smile behind his surgical mask. "I think they're going to make it." Outside in the waiting area, Dr. Chen approached Claire, who had just returned from the Drake Industries confrontation. The doctor's face was unreadable as she removed her surgical cap. "Mrs. Bennett," she began gravely, "there's something you should know about Emily and Nathaniel." Claire's heart seemed to stop as Dr. Chen's grave expression registered. After everything, the reunion, the revelations, confronting Victoria, losing either Emily or Nathaniel was unthinkable. Losing both would be the end of her world. "What is it?" she managed, her voice barely audible. Dr. Chen's face transformed with a smile. They both flatlined during the procedure, simultaneously, but they're both back and stabilizing. Dr. Collins called it the most remarkable cardiac synchronicity he's ever witnessed. Claire's knees buckled, and Meredith quickly guided her to a chair. "They're alive," Claire whispered. "More than alive," Dr. Chen continued. "The transplanted tissue is integrating with Emily's heart at an unprecedented rate, and Nathaniel, while weakened, is showing remarkable resilience." She placed a gentle hand on Claire's shoulder. "Dr. Collins believes we're witnessing something extraordinary, medically, and perhaps beyond medical explanation." Relief flooded through Claire, so powerful it left her trembling. "When can I see them?" "They'll be in recovery for several hours. Emily will remain sedated at least until tomorrow morning to give her heart time to adapt. Nathaniel might regain consciousness sooner." Dr. Chen checked her pager. "I need to get back, but I wanted you to know immediately." As the doctor hurried away, Meredith handed Claire a cup of tea from the waiting room station. "This isn't over," she said quietly. "Victoria left Drake Industries in a fury, and Mendez disappeared before security could detain him. They won't give up easily." Claire straightened, finding reserves of strength she didn't know she possessed. "Then neither will we." The news of Margaret Drake's death reached the hospital shortly after midnight. Mrs. Reynolds called Claire directly, her voice thick with emotion. "She held on just long enough to make that video call," the housekeeper explained, then asked to be taken off oxygen, said she was ready to face whatever came next. Claire felt a complex surge of emotions. Not grief exactly, but something adjacent to it. Margaret had destroyed 8 years of potential happiness. Yet her final act had helped protect Nathaniel and Emily's future. "Thank you for letting me know," Claire said softly. "And thank you for looking after her all these years." "She wasn't always the woman you knew," Mrs. Reynolds replied. "Before bitterness took hold, she had kindness in her. At the end, I saw glimpses of that woman again." After the call ended, Claire sat beside Nathaniel's recovery room bed, watching the steady rise and fall of his chest. The strong, vibrant man she'd fallen in love with a decade ago looked vulnerable, his complexion pale, his breathing shallow, yet even unconscious. He radiated a peculiar strength. Around 3 in the morning, his eyelids fluttered, Claire leaned forward, hope surging as his gaze slowly focused on her. "Emily," he rasped, his first thought even before full consciousness. "She's stable," Claire assured him, pressing a gentle kiss to his forehead. "The surgery worked, Nate. You saved her." Relief washed over his features. He tried to sit up, then winced, a hand going to his chest. "Easy," Claire cautioned. "You've just had major cardiac surgery. My heart feels different," he murmured, each word an evident effort. "Dr. Collins said that's normal. Your heart is adapting to its new configuration." Claire held a straw to his lips so he could sip water. "You'll need time to recover, but he expects you'll regain about 70 to 80% of your previous function." Nathaniel nodded, processing this new reality. "Worth it," he said simply. After a pause, he asked, "My mother," Claire hesitated. "She passed away shortly after helping us expose Victoria and Mendez. She did one good thing at the end, Nate." Something shifted in his expression. Not forgiveness exactly, but perhaps the beginning of peace. "The company," he asked next. Priorities clear even through his medicated haze. "The board has rescinded Victoria's appointment and issued a formal apology. Mendez has disappeared, but the FBI is investigating him for corporate espionage, blackmail, and stalking." Claire smiled faintly. "Your CFO, James Wilson, is temporarily handling things. He seems remarkably competent." "He is." Nathaniel's eyes began to droop, the medications pulling him back toward sleep. "Claire," he murmured, fighting to stay awake. "Don't leave again. Promise me." She took his hand, squeezing it gently. "I'm not going anywhere. Neither is Emily. We're done running." As Nathaniel drifted back to sleep, Claire allowed herself to truly believe those words for the first time. 3 days later, Emily opened her eyes to find both her parents at her bedside, still groggy from medication. She smiled weakly. "Did it work?" she asked, her small voice raspy from the intubation tube that had been removed the previous day. "It worked perfectly, sweetheart," Claire confirmed, smoothing Emily's hair back from her forehead. "Your heart is getting stronger every day." Emily's gaze shifted to Nathaniel, who sat in a wheelchair beside her bed, still recovering from his own procedure. "They said you gave me part of your heart," she said with childlike directness. Nathaniel smiled, emotion tightening his throat. "Just a small piece. You needed it more than I did." Emily considered this with surprising solemnity for a 7-year-old. "So I'll always have part of you with me. Always," he promised. "Though I would have been with you anyway." "Heart or no heart," Dr. Collins entered, reviewing charts with evident satisfaction. "Our miracle patients are both exceeding expectations," he announced. "Emily's latest echocardiogram shows the grafted tissue fully integrated. Her left ventricle is already functioning at 40% capacity, triple what it was before surgery." "And my father?" Emily asked. The word father, still new on her tongue but spoken with increasing confidence. Collins smiled. "He's recovering remarkably well too, though he should be in bed rather than wheeling around the hospital," he added with pointed emphasis. Nathaniel had the grace to look sheepish. "I promised I'd be here when she woke up." The doctor's expression softened. "The synchronicity we observed during surgery persists. Their recovery patterns are mirror images. When one improves, the other follows. I've never seen anything quite like it." "Is that normal?" Claire asked. "In medicine, we're learning that normal has broader boundaries than we once thought," Collins replied diplomatically. "The bond between parent and child extends beyond the merely physical. That said, I'll be documenting this case extensively, with your permission." Of course. After the doctor left, a nurse arrived with a special surprise. Emily's room had been deemed safe for a therapy dog visit. A gentle golden retriever named Buttercup padded in, immediately winning Emily's heart as she gently rested her muzzle on the edge of the bed. Watching Emily giggle as Buttercup performed simple tricks, Claire felt Nathaniel's hand find hers. "When she's recovered enough," he said quietly, "I'd like to take you both to my place in the Catskills. It's peaceful there, good for healing." Claire's mind flashed to that weekend 8 years ago, their last happy time together before everything fell apart. The cabin by the lake, the unexpected storm, The power outage that led to Emily's conception. I'd like that, she replied softly. Nathaniel hesitated, then added, and after that, we should discuss more permanent arrangements for all of us, before Claire could respond. Emily called them over to meet Buttercup properly, the moment suspended between them like a promise. Across town, Victoria Langford slammed her office door, fury radiating from every pore. The morning's Wall Street Journal featured a devastating exposé of her attempted corporate takeover. Complete with details of Mendez's criminal activities, Drake Industries stock had rallied on news of Nathaniel's successful surgery and the board's renewed confidence in his leadership. 3 years of careful positioning, destroyed in 3 days. Her father had already distanced himself, publicly stating he'd had no knowledge of her independent actions. The Langford name would survive, but Victoria's corporate aspirations were effectively finished in New York. Her assistant knocked tentatively. "Ms. Langford, there's a call from Zurich. Mr. Mendez says it's urgent." Victoria smiled coldly. Perhaps the game wasn't entirely over. Mendez had escaped with significant Drake family documentation, information that might still prove valuable in the right hands. "Put him through," she instructed, already calculating her next move. She might have lost this battle, but Victoria Langford wasn't finished with the Drakes. Not by a long shot. 1 year later, Martha's vineyard sparkled under a perfect June sky, the ocean breeze carrying the scent of salt and summer roses. The Drake family's beachfront property had been transformed for the occasion. White chairs arranged in neat rows on the sand, an archway of native wildflowers marking the altar, and garlands of ivy and white hydrangeas creating a natural aisle in the guest house. Claire stood before a full-length mirror, hardly recognizing herself in the simple ivory silk dress that flowed like water around her curves. No traditional wedding gown for her. At 31, after everything they'd endured, traditional seemed beside the point. "Mom, you look like a mermaid princess," Emily declared, twirling in her own pale blue dress. A crown of flowers nestled in her dark curls. Claire smiled at her daughter, marveling as she did every day at the transformation. Gone was the frail, sickly child of a year ago. 8-year-old Emily now radiated health, her cheeks flushed with color, her movements strong and confident. Dr. Collins' most recent evaluation had confirmed the impossible. Her heart function had reached 90% of normal, a result he deemed medically extraordinary. "Are you nervous?" Emily asked, arranging her basket of rose petals with meticulous care. "A little," Claire admitted, "but the good kind of nervous, like the feeling before opening a present you've waited for a very long time." A knock at the door revealed Meredith, who had evolved from Nathaniel's assistant to Claire's friend and confidant over the past year. "It's time," she announced, then hesitated. "There's someone who'd like to see you first, though." Victoria Langford stood in the doorway, elegant in understated navy silk, looking both regal and somehow diminished compared to their last encounter. "May I speak with you alone?" she asked softly. Claire nodded, sending Emily with Meredith to take their positions for the ceremony. Victoria entered, maintaining a careful distance. "I wasn't sure my invitation was genuine until now," she admitted. "Nathaniel thought it was important," Claire replied, a gesture of closure. Victoria smiled faintly. He always did have an overdeveloped sense of propriety. She reached into her clutch, withdrawing a small velvet box. "This is for Emily, a gift from a chastened, almost stepmother." Claire accepted the box cautiously, opening it to reveal a delicate gold necklace with a small diamond heart pendant. "It's beautiful," she acknowledged. "But it comes with no strings," Victoria interrupted. "Just a wish for her continued health." Claire studied the woman who had once tried to destroy Nathaniel. "Why did you come today, Victoria, really?" Something vulnerable flickered across Victoria's perfectly composed features. "To see what real love looks like, I suppose." She moved toward the door. "I'm leaving for London tonight. Langford Industries is opening a European division, and I'll be running it. New York has grown, inhospitable. And Mendez." Victoria's smile turned cold. "Currently enjoying the hospitality of the Swiss authorities. It seems those documents he took contained proprietary Drake Industries information. Corporate espionage carries significant penalties in Switzerland." She paused at the threshold. "That was Nathaniel's doing, I assume?" Claire shook her head. Margaret's, actually, her final act of protection for her family. Victoria absorbed this with visible surprise. Remarkable. Well, I wish you both happiness, Claire. And I mean that sincerely. As Victoria departed, Claire felt a chapter closing. The threat that had loomed over their newfound family finally neutralized. Outside, guests had taken their seats on the beach. Emily began her procession down the aisle, scattering rose petals with theatrical flourish that drew affectionate laughter. Claire watched from behind a screen of beach roses as Nathaniel turned to watch his daughter's approach, his face illuminated with a joy that still caught Claire's breath. The past year had changed him too. Physically, he'd adapted to his new cardiac limitations with characteristic determination. Working with specialists to regain his strength, the successful surgery had made medical headlines, with Dr. Collins publishing a groundbreaking paper on what he'd termed the Drake procedure. Professionally, Nathaniel had restructured Drake Industries from the ground up, prioritizing ethical practices and sustainability. The Emily Drake Foundation, dedicated to funding advanced pediatric cardiac care for underprivileged children, had become his personal mission. But the most profound changes were invisible to outsiders. The driven, emotionally guarded businessman had given way to a more balanced man who prioritized family alongside ambition. The weekends at the Catskills cabin had become sacred time. No phones, no business, just the three of them healing together. The wedding march began, and Claire started down the sandy aisle. Nathaniel turned, and the naked emotion on his face made her stumble slightly. This was the look she'd dreamed of during lonely nights in Portland. Pure, undiluted love, without reservation or condition. They had chosen to write their own vows, rejecting traditional language that couldn't possibly encompass their unique journey. "Claire," Nathaniel began, his voice steady despite the emotion evident in his eyes. "8 years ago, I lost you without understanding why. I searched for you in every face, every city, every moment of silence. When you returned, bringing our daughter and the truth with you, I discovered that what was broken in me could be healed. You've taught me that love isn't about possession or perfection. It's about choosing each other every day, especially when it's difficult." He took her hands in his. "I give you the heart that remains mine, scarred but stronger for having been tested. I promise to be the father Emily deserves, and the partner you need. No more lost time, no more secrets, no more separation. Whatever comes next, we face it together." Claire blinked back tears as she began her own vows. "Nathaniel, leaving you was the hardest choice I ever made, and finding my way back to you was the most terrifying. For years, I convinced myself that love meant sacrifice, your happiness for mine. Now I know that real love is brave enough to fight for shared joy, even against impossible odds." She squeezed his hands. "I promise to trust in us, to believe in the family we've created, to remember every day that what we've found is worth protecting. Emily and I aren't just returning to you. We're coming home to where we always belonged." The simple gold rings they exchanged seemed to catch the sunlight with particular brilliance as they slid into place, when the justice of the peace pronounced them husband and wife. Emily rushed forward to join their embrace, completing the circle that had been broken for too long. The reception unfolded under a white tent on the beach, fairy lights twinkling as dusk settled over the ocean. After dinner and toasting, the band struck up a familiar melody, the same song that had been playing during Nathaniel and Claire's first dance 8 years earlier at a gallery opening where a construction magnate had fallen for an art student with fierce eyes and independent spirit. As they moved across the dance floor, Emily watching with delight from a nearby table, Nathaniel whispered, "There's something I need to tell you." Claire pulled back slightly. "That sounds ominous." "Not ominous," he assured her. "Just unexpected." He guided them to a quieter corner of the tent. "Remember the envelope my mother gave me before she died? The one I wasn't supposed to open until Emily was safe?" Claire nodded. With Emily's recovery and the wedding preparations, she'd forgotten about it entirely. "I opened it last week," Nathaniel continued. "It contained adoption papers for a baby girl born 16 months after you left. Another child Margaret arranged to keep secret from our family." Claire's eyes widened. "You have another child?" "No," he clarified, "but you might have a half-sister. The birth mother listed on the documents matches your mother's name and birth date." Claire felt the world tilt slightly. Her mother had died when she was 12. leaving her to bounce between distant relatives and eventually foster care. The possibility of a sister, someone connected by blood, was overwhelming. "Where is she now?" Claire managed. "Living in Boston," Nathaniel replied. Margaret apparently tracked her down months before she died. The final instructions in the envelope were to tell you when the time was right. As if on cue, a young woman approached the edge of the dance floor, mid-20s, with Claire's distinctive eyes and determined chin. "That's her," Nathaniel murmured. Margaret invited her to the wedding through her lawyer, said it was time for healing to come full circle. Claire stared at the woman, her sister, feeling pieces of her past suddenly rearranging into a new pattern, offering unexpected possibilities for the future. As the evening stars emerged above Martha's vineyard, the extended Drake family, newly united, still discovering its boundaries, celebrated not just a wedding, but a constellation of second chances that none of them had dared to imagine possible just 1 year before.